Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know what I'm saying? The Warriors won the championship last night, yes sir. But yeah, on a serious note though, today we got something more dark and orchestral, so something for like Gunna and Young Thug. And with that being said, let's get into it.
Always and forever, dog.
Alright, so the first thing I pulled up when I was making this beat was just a violin, and it's just the French violin from Sample Science. I really like this violin a lot. I think it sounds really nice, and it's got different presets to it and stuff like that, but I kept it on the arco vibrato right here. And then what I did is I just panned it a bit to the right. I turned up the reverb just a slight bit because I did add some extra reverb that I do prefer over the built-in reverb of this preset after. And then I turned up the cutoff all the way. I turned down the depth to about here, and then I turned down I turned up the glide just a bit to the right over here. And that's basically all I did for that I did tuning the knobs there. And then this is how the pattern sounds like. Alright, so it's a really simple pattern. Excuse me. So what you want to do first is you want to be in any minor scale, and I'm just in F minor right now. You could be in any scale, it doesn't matter. So then what I did was you start building off your triad. So instead of starting off on an F minor chord, I actually started off on an F sharp minor. So I started F sharp, A, C sharp. And then what I did there is a lot of people, I extended this top note just a bit because I wanted it to be a bit more lengthy. And then a lot of people, what they do is they just invert the middle note in the chord an octave up. But what I decided to do, let me give you a listen. It sounds nice, but I preferred what I did here. It sounds really nice, but what I did instead of the middle note was I inverted up the bottom note. And then it sounds like this. So for the next chord, what I did is the same F minor chord. Just what I did was I actually transposed this A note, and then I transposed it down one for a G sharp minor. So what this basically is we call this a minor sus chord, and this is when you turn a minor chord down, you transpose it the middle note an octave, one note down, and then usually that would make it a minor chord from a major, but this, since it's already a minor chord, you're making it a minor sus chord. So then from there, what I just did, inverted the root note once again. Then I added this F as an unresolved note by itself so it could kind of come back. Same chords that I did here, just this time I inverted the middle note up so it could have a different kind of feel to the note, so it sounds as if it's a different chord. Did the same thing with the minor sus one, added this F, and then I copy and pasted the pattern all the way throughout A measures. And then all I did was I kind of just messed around with the velocities. Some sounded harsh, some sounded a bit too soft, so I kind of just messed it around until I found something that I liked. So from there, all the effects that I added on it was just an EQ, taking out a lot of the lows. And why I took out so much of the low end, on this violin, is just because this specific violin is that you can take out as much high end as you want, and it's not really going to affect the quality of the sound of the violin itself. So that's what I did, just take out all that background frequencies that you don't really need. And then I added some dips around 3000 and 5000 hertz just to soften up some harsh frequencies that I didn't like. And then right here towards the end, I did add a little tiny bit of a boost towards the high end here, just because I did kind of like the high end that I got from the violin. So then I just wanted to boost that up just a little bit. Then I added a reverb, just put the wet down at 23%, kept everything else the same. Added a compressor. I turned up the gain slightly to 2.2 decibels. Then I put this type preset to vintage. I turned up the ratio to 3.1, 3.0 to 1, excuse me, and then I turned on the attack to 170.9 milliseconds. That's all I did. And then finally I added a magic dice from Baby Audio. I really do like this this VST a lot. It's really nice actually. You just press the domino button here and you get a random effect, and down here you have the mix level to that you could play with to what you excuse me, what you enjoy with the effect mix level. So from there I just turned it down to about there. Everything else I kept the same. Alright, so from there I just added a low piano, and this piano was just a regular grand piano, the stock grand piano from FL Studios, and not many people know it's actually not a bad piano. So not many people know that you can go down here to packs, instruments, keyboard, and then you'll see grand piano right there. And the reason why I use this over my main piano, which is a lab soft piano, which I really like, is because this one was a lot more of a harsh sounding piano. So since I was doing something more dark and orchestral, I wanted that kind of harsh dark feel, so I used this piano instead. And all I did was I followed the root notes here: F sharp, G sharp, F sharp, and then back to F here as an unresolved note so it could come back. And then what I did is that from here, this is what we call playing in octaves. So I just selected the note, shift click it, and then I transpose it up one, so it's playing together in this octave here and this octave here, and that's what we call an octave. So this is how the pattern sounds like. Alright, so I didn't add any effects on that, I don't believe. Yeah, the only thing I added was just an EQ, just taking out some of the low end over there that I didn't need. And then from there I did add a texture over here that sounds like this. So basically all this is just a texture from the Apollo one-shot kit that you can find down here in textures, and then texture 7, it's just a bird chirp over there. And then I just wanted that to have as a texture in the background to make it more of an ethnic kind of sound. And then from there I did not add any effects to it. And the final component that I added to the melody was just this flute run over here. So I really like this flute run here. It was kind of an ethnic kind of sound. And then once again, I did get it from the Apollo one-shot kit here, and I got it down in flute, and then you got flute phrases, and then I got it down here in one of the runs. So basically from there I add some effects on it. So the effects that I added for the flute run here was just taking out a lot of that low frequencies that I don't need down there. Added a little dip here around 1500 hertz, and then I boosted up some of the high end that I liked in the that I wanted more of in the flute run. And then added a reverb, turned up the wet to 44%, kept everything else the same, added a magic dice, and then I put a wider preset at 71% over here because I wanted this to sound more spread out and panned. I could always use the stereo shaper here, right here on the channel rack, but I decided to use the wider here because I like this reset a lot. So that's basically all I did for the melody. So everything together sounds pretty much like this. Alright, so now we're gonna get into the drums.
You'll always stand forever, dog.
Alright, so the first thing we added for the drums was just a regular clap, hitting on the 2 and 4. That's basically what I did. I just added on the 2 and 4 every single one, and then this final clap, I just slided it back here to this final bar, and then I just copy and pasted that pattern. So then the next thing we got here is just a snare. Alright, very simple. So just hitting on a couple times here, and then some accent notes right here. And then what I did was I added 2 notes next to each other, and then you select this note, Alt U on your keyboard, and then you're gonna go to this time multiplier, and if you want to go to the fourths to roll it like this, then you put it down to this knob right here, one knob to the left. It's gonna do exactly that. So then what I did, since this is a very harsh snare, I just turned down the velocities, and I put this one back up to hit it like this. Alright, so from there, excuse me, so from there I added a perk. Then I just added the hi-hats. So I'm a really big hi-hat person. I don't like perks too much. I do use percussion every now and then if I have to, but I really do rely on my hi-hats to have all the sauce and all the bounce for the beat. So I go really simple and hard hitting with the 808s, but I go really complex and really good bounce and pattern with the hi-hat. So this is how the pattern sounds like. Alright, so it's actually very simple. So what I did was I added 4 notes together here. And then what I did here was just on the second one, I added a roll here, I cut it in half. And then I added 2 more right here. I transposed this one down, excuse me, because I like to be very dramatic with my hi-hats, and especially when you have dark beats, if you go really dramatic and really bouncy with your hi-hats, then it really can make the beat a lot of times and really make the drums. So that's why I like to be really dramatic with them. So I did these 2 extra notes right here, give some space, and then kind of declining down again, and then declines down here, comes back up. I added a roll, then just give some space, then hit back again. So it's fairly simple. There's nothing too much behind the hi-hat. You just have to find a pattern that you like. So a lot of times I like to hit on the first one, maybe give some 3 measures of space there, and then hit back again, hit a roll, stuff like that. But it's really just what feels right with the rest of the drums that you're adding and the percussion and everything. You don't want to make the hi-hats too complex to where it makes it not like a good beat. It just makes it sound overdone. But you want the bounce to be enough where you're like, damn, these hi-hats are good, man. So like that's basically what I did here. I just added a pattern that I liked, and then I just copy and paste it out through this one. So then I always play with the velocities for my hi-hats here. You know, while I'm declining things, you know, while I'm adding rolls, I kind of turn down the velocity so it's easier on the ears, and you know, I just make everything sound good. So then from there I added the 808. So I really like this 808. It's the distorted 808 from Trifreeze's ATL Culture Drum Kit 2. It's the one right here. It's a really nice 808. So then I just followed the root note pattern, and going with the hi-hat, I just made it really simple. Alright, so from there, I just added an open hat, and this is an essential open hat from Trifreeze's ATL Culture drum kit, and the first one. And I really like this hi-hat. It has a lot of crunch and a lot of high end to wind, so it really, like, if you want like a really crunchy dirty beat, always hit the hi-hats here with the 808s, and it goes crazy. So I'm gonna play the hi-hats and the 808s together for you. Excuse me, the open hat and the 808. Alright, so the final thing that I added here was just a bass 808, and this is the Bedanka Deep 808, and this is from a Loop Stash drum kit that I got. And man, the stuff from Loop Stash is so good, and it's not that expensive. It's pretty cheap. If you're gonna get a drum kit for $25 that's worth this price, it's really good. So they got some really good 808s here. Like, they got the original Dior 808 that was used in Pop Smoke's Dior. They got a lot of really good 808s, but then I use this one right here, the Deep 808. So then all I did was I added an octave up, and then it plays like this, following the root notes. Alright, so all the drums together sound like this. Alright, so the only drum that I added really an effect on was the hi-hats, and all I do for my hi-hats, very simple, just EQ, and then this is the secret that I use with all my hi-hats, and if you use a little bit of this, it makes the hi-hats so much better. So this is how the hi-hat's gonna sound without any effects on it. It's a good pattern, but it doesn't have any good bounce to it. But then with the effects, it sounds like this. So then I just add a Fruit Delay 3, and then what I do is I turn down the wet pretty low here to about 6%. You can add it even lower if you want. I think I put a bit too much reverb on it, but I like the way that it came out. So you just have to add it around this amount of percentage of wetness, and then turn down the level to about over here to about 15-16%, and then just turn down this time knob on the delay time right here just to exactly to this knob right here. And then if you add that, I just turn down the mix level down to 55%, so it's not too much reverb there, too much delay, but then that you're gonna get this. Alright, so if you guys dig anything from this video, please make sure to drop a like and sub down below, and stay tuned because I'm going to be posting every Saturday, as I said. And if you guys do want to see the full beats that I break down here on these videos here on YouTube, I do post them on my Instagram at prod_loyal, so I'll leave all the links down to the description. So yeah, stay loyal.
Always
Peace.